Hey, what's going on, guys? I wasn't really going to make a video for this, but this has been probably one of my hardest projects so far, just with all the wiring and everything. But I'm going to show you how to wire up a couple of switches. So I want to do a little switch panel right in here where the radio goes. So I'm going to have ignition, the starter, access port cut off, an ABS cut off, a launch control cut off, which will just make it so I can start the car without the clutch pushed in, and then an accessory switch. And then I also have battery kill switch right there, and then that's a USB port. So to start all this, I pretty much made this whole thing for all the relays and then made a separate little switch panel. So to wire up a relay, they're actually pretty simple, and I drew everything out. So one of the ports will have the actual switch wire coming from the switch. One's going to be a ground, and then one will go to whatever you want to be switched on. Say for like fog lights or any of this stuff that I'm doing, this will actually go to that. And then the switches I got, they're called double throw, double poles or something like that. So basically, if you can hook up this and it'll be constant. So if the switch is off, you can still have power going to something. And I needed a couple of those, and I'll show you why in a little bit. And then lastly, you're going to have a constant power going to it. And then the switches I have are just, they're marine type rocker switches. They have a LED light when they're on, and then the red light when they're off. And then that was actually fun to wire because you have all this going on. So each switch has 3 terminals. One's the actual switched wire that goes to the relay, and then you have constant power for the lights, and then you need to have a negative for the lights. And then the red lights you can see on the bottom, I wired all those together with the different power connectors for the lights will actually go to the constant power source on here. So when the relay says that the switch isn't on, I'll have power to the lights. And hopefully I got that all done correctly. But for the ignition, underneath here, where if you look where your key goes, you have a power, ignition, accessory, and start. And those are the 4 wires that go in there. So you have a constant power coming from the battery. So I pretty much wire that to my battery kill switch, and then coming from the ignition relay, it goes to the ignition wire. And then for the start and accessory one, so basically when you turn the key to the first click, it's accessory. The second click is ignition. And then the third, when you have to hold it, is a start. Well, when you hit the start, the accessory actually turns off momentarily. So I wired the accessory side to the, it's the constant power one down here. So the accessory will be down here, and the start is actually connected to this because the way the switch is, it does this. So say it's, you don't have the switch on, it's doing this. So it's on at the constant. And then when you flick it on, it's on with the switch. So it actually turns whatever you have connected on there off. So it turns the accessory off. The access port, that was pretty simple. I just connected down there where the OBD2 port is, and just connected to the one wire that has the power source. ABS, I have the ABS plugged into the fuse down there. I'll actually show you guys. So, fuse. Alright, so the fuse for the ABS, one of them's right here. You have power going in, and then you have the signal that's leaving that one. So I just connected into the signal wire. And again, that was this one. So this will be the signal wire going to whatever you're turning on or off. So as I said, we need to connect that power going back to the ABS, so that one's on. And then the launch control. The launch control one's actually been kind of tricky. So my main goal for having this switch is just to be able to push the start button without pressing in the clutch. Now you could just hardwire the clutch, but if you do that, you actually take away your launch control and flat foot shift abilities if you have that on your car. So obviously I still wanted that. So in order to wire this, I actually came from the clutch switch, wired into this instead of having the power, because the way the clutch switch works, and I did draw it down here. So you have constant power, and then coming from the switch, it actually just grounds out. So it just, once this, since it's connected, you know, it'll start for you. So in order to do this, to make the switch on, it's like this, and then having that little toggle throw over will bypass it. So it'll kind of tell when it's on, or you know, the clutch will be on without actually having the clutch pedal pushed in. So that's what the back of that does, and it's kind of tricky, and I'm really hoping it works. And then the accessory is pretty simple. You know, as I said, you got the signal wire going to whatever you're turning on. And then the spare little relay down here is actually for the clutch, because you have to wire in two separate ones, because when you turn it off, and as I said, because it has a ground side, so it's not actually sending power to it, it kind of just connects a circuit going to ground. Well, you don't want to cross everything or ground everything out. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, overall this was a simple project, just lots and lots of little tiny wiring, as you can see. But it's pretty simple. As long as you follow this, just remember you don't want to send power to actual switch. The switches aren't meant for that. That's what the relays are meant for, is for sending power between stuff. Alright, so just finished getting everything buttoned back up, and somehow it actually works. So I'm going to show you guys how. So I got the key for the battery disconnect, and when you do this, it turns on accessory. So that's pretty much the only thing I have going to accessory. When you do that, these lights will come on. So next, ignition, and make sure you're neutral, no clutch, feet are hanging out, and start. And then next, so you can see when I turn the stuff on, the lights go off. See the difference? Next, access port, because I've been wanting to cut off switch for that for a very long time. And then, if you see my little yellow friend down there, next, ABS off. So, ABS controller. And then the next one is the launch control, and that's how I'm actually able to start it without pushing the clutch in. And then, lastly, accessory switch, because I use GoPros and my phone and everything else. So let me show you. Turn off. So this will be ABS. Okay, and actually, and I can turn it off like that. So let me talk about this real quick. With the ABS, now I've been trying to read quite a bit, and it messes with your differential and stuff like that. And I'll play with it a little bit more when I actually get to driving, because I don't have anything connected right now. But when I turn the ABS on and off, I can actually hear it click. That's access port. So right now it's off. So if you listen, I don't know if you can hear that, but you can actually hear stuff going on when I turn it back on. So I'm not really too worried about it. Alright, so anyway, with my launch control, this one is my launch control, so if I try to start it, nothing. And remember how I said about the accessory? So when I hit the starter, accessories turn off. So I don't have anything if I have the launch control on. Turn it off. Good to go. So thanks again for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And you know, another point of the switch is emergency cutoff. So thanks again, guys. Have a good night.